Welcome into the 820 studio. Welcome into the 820 show. This is your 500 seconds of resilience. A new day, a new moment, a new opportunity for us to share this quality that I say connects us more than anything that can ever separate us. This thing called resilience. Today's conversation will be probably less defined and scripted. I have a title for this one, but essentially it's an introduction to these next several, maybe dozens of 820 episodes that now will include a marriage, if you will, a connection of the 820 topic or theme areas with my poetry. I know that's a stretch. This guy talking about resilience, as nebulous and as ethereal as that is, now he wants to bring in poetry into the conversation. So bear with me, but you'll hopefully be able to appreciate and, enjoy poetry and resilience. Now, that connection, this connection between the 820 Enterprise, the book, Resilience, the Beauty of Presence, and my original entry into the manuscript and book realm was a book I wrote maybe, 20 years ago or so, maybe 25 years ago. It was called A Little Deception Among Friends. A Little Deception Among Friends. That was my poetry book. And so from that book, A Little Deception Among Friends, certain poems I will use to maybe as an entire 820 episode, but also sometimes those poems are shorter and may only serve to round out or complement the 820 episode theme. So some of those poems from the Deception Among Friends book I will use to complete a conversation or to begin a conversation with you. Now, I do not ever propose myself to you today as a poet or that I aspire to mimic great poets like E. E. Cummings or T.S. Eliot or Shakespeare. But the poems I have mentioned to you just now, I kind of scratched them out, 20, 25 years ago. And I did that way before, like over a decade before the book, Resilience, the Beauty and Presence, ever emerged from me. And definitely that poetry came from me onto a hard surface like pen and paper or digitally on my computer. That stuff happened, the poetry, way before the 820 Enterprise. But then just really recently, like last month, I rediscovered those poems, that book. And each poem, as I was rereading those, I'm as surprised as you are, but they all seem to indicate the beginning pieces or missives or suggestions or ideas about resilience. Now, when I mentioned to you that book called A Little Deception Among Friends, a poetry book, back then I hadn't even considered or heard that word resilience or the phrases I have put together in the book about resilience. I hadn't even considered that back then. But if you allow me to say this, the Creator allowed me to express these observations and then to communicate them back then to myself. And thankfully, gratefully, He allowed me to catch up and realize that poetry groundwork for resilience. to recognize, reflect, and move forward on that path and trail about resilience placed under my feet. To walk into this new world of poetry and resilience. This is new for me. Even the introduction in sharing that with you today and with myself today. It's new path, if you will, maybe a broader path now with perspectives that were given to me over 2 decades ago. But now I hope that you can enjoy this new path of this part of this journey. This, what I've called the poetry in resilience. Now, maybe I can offer you, I guess, a teaser, if you will, but an excerpt from that book, the poetry book, A Little Deception Among Friends. Here's a trailer example poem for you, for your ears, and maybe for your heart's pleasure. This one's called Viscera. Viscera. You have me as more or less than you know, and all that I feel. There is no them, there is no then. There's only 1 and 0. Which one do you choose? Hint, you can have both. Both you and me, but not with the 3. The 3, the ego, fear, and prejudice. Or the other 3, the attach, the judge, and the resist. Stick with the 2 that do not compete. They can complete, persist, and insist, quietly, softly, subtly, from a place only you can feel but never know. So, live here with or without me, with or without you, together in a space that evaporates as quickly as it appears, after you just hear and listen closer to what it means to no one but you, as 0, as 1, or 2. I hope you enjoyed that initial poetry and resilience description or example. Hopefully you can enjoy that. But as I said before, some of the poems in that book, A Little Deception Among Friends, will comprise the entire episode, may even go over into 2 episodes. But in many cases, the poetry and resilience will help to round out or introduce or conclude a theme of resilience. Resilience in your presence, resilience in your currency, resilience in this moment that we spend together. So, please, pay attention, stay current, stay present, stay poetic. No matter where you are in this world, it is always 8:20.